Alright, well, this is the result. This is my charred, gnarly horror hand. There we go. Anyone who's been, who follows my Twitter feed will have seen that I've been tinkering with this, well, what was a really, really cheap Halloween prop. And I've been tinkering with it over Sunday. And, yeah, well, I'm really quite happy with it, to be honest. Just a quick video, really, just to sort of describe how I did it. Really straightforward. First of all, this was a really, really cheap Halloween prop, as I say. It came from Morrison's, I think. It's the sort of thing you get in the supermarkets and like your pound shops over the Halloween holidays. You know, you get 7 hands, 7 fingers, feet, all that sort of stuff. And they're really cheaply made, and you know, sometimes they're rubber. Normally they're like this solid sort of plastic. Change, you can hear that on the inside, and it just looked crap. I mean, like the bone protrusions here, you know, they were all clean, they were white with just sort of smidgens of really bright red paint. You know, it just looked crap and horrible. But yeah, so I thought, it's been sitting there for 2 or 3 years. I thought, well, I'm actually going to do something with it, and it's partly inspired by a video I saw on YouTube from the guys at Tested.com, where Norm, one of the hosts on Tested, actually did a video. I can't remember the guy's name, but he works in the special effects industry, where he had bought this, I think it was a $10 skull from Amazon, and had used liquid latex and cotton wool to create sinewy flesh. I was looking at this video, I was thinking to myself, well, the end result looked really cool. I mean, admittedly, this guy's a professional and everything, and I'm not. I don't obviously work in this business or anything at all, as you can probably tell. But I was really inspired by this video, and I thought to myself, well, hang on a minute, I haven't got liquid latex, and I can't really afford to go and buy any at the moment. But when he mentioned liquid latex is, in essence, like a form of glue, I thought, well, I've got PVA glue. So I thought, well, let's use the technique that he's using, which was to do a layer of PVA, then do a layer of this cotton wool. He had rolls of cotton wool, but cotton wool balls, cotton wool buds, anything you've got, just break it up, make it really fibrous, lay it out, and then repaint over the top of it with more PVA glue, or in his case, liquid latex. Let it dry overnight, and then come back in the morning and paint it. And when I saw this video and saw his results, I was really, really inspired. And I thought, well, okay, I'm not going to make it look as good as that, but at least I can give it a go. If it doesn't work, it's PVA glue, I can just peel it off. It's non-toxic, you know, it's, you know, toddlers use the stuff, for God's sake. It's really, really, you know, was it crazy glue, isn't it? So anyway, if you go to my Twitter feed, you'll see, and I'll put a link to my Twitter feed on my YouTube page, you'll see all the pictures of the different stages. It took about 3 or 4 stages in the end to do it. But I was going to quickly describe how, stage by stage, what I did. So stage 1 really was just purely looking at the broken end, the severed end of the hand. And as I say, it was really, really so blatantly cheap. So I took something. Now, I used to do Warhammer. I used to do Warhammer 40,000. And I never really enjoyed playing the game, truth be told. But I really enjoyed the modelling side of it, in particular building everything. So as you can see in the background, I've got some Citadel paints, because I've sold off most of my Warhammer stuff now. But I've kept all my modelling equipment, paints and glues and all that sort of stuff, all my tools. So the paint I used as an undercoat for the blood was this, which is Citadel's Blood for the Blood God. This is one of their technical paint range that came out a couple of years ago, I think now, and they are just fantastic. When these came out, I lost my shit over these, quite frankly. They had this, and they had one called Nurgle Rot, which I also used on this. And there was like a filigree one and a rust one. The rust one was awesome. That was such a nice dry brush paint. It was superb. But what I really like about this is you can just, you know, dry, you know, sort of wash it on. You can dry brush it on, or you can gloop it on. And the glooping, I don't know if you can really sort of see here, but some of the glooping effects and everything just was lovely. So I did an undercoat of that in effect. Let that dry. And then went to stage 2. Stage 2 was, as I mentioned, this whole idea of the PVA adhesive and cotton wool to create this sort of sinewy flesh, and it works really well. because you can see you can stretch out the cotton wool and you can make it all. Again, this is filmed on an iPhone, by the way, so sorry about the quality. But you can make all that sinewy look, and you know, it's just. You know, it looks better up close because you can see some of the smaller sinews. I mean, there, for example, just tip of my finger. You know, that bridging there and everything, and it actually works supremely well. I'm so happy with it. But when I left it overnight, as you've seen the pictures for stage 2, well, the only way to describe how it looked was it kind of looked like a horse had spunked over the end of it. It just looked, ugh. But it kind of, when you're actually using it, it was kind of like a similar process to papier-mâché. You know, it went on really, really easily. And even when you're applying the top layer of glue, obviously the brushes kept pulling the fibres of the cotton wool, but that's what I wanted. I didn't want it all to be nice and matte. You know, I wanted all those big strands, and they would dry hard with the glue, and then you could paint over it in the morning. Anyway, get up this morning, say horse bunker's dried, and it's straight on into the technical painting. Now, what I did to obviously darken out and colour up the white or the PVA glue and the cotton wool was I made my own skin tone. And I made my own skin tone using these two paints and a thinner. And again, Systop paints, this is Pink Horror, and this is, I think it's pronounced Iriol or Iriol Yellow, and then just an acrylic thinner. Now, it's a lot of Pink Horror and a little bit of the yellow here. Yellow, it's always recommended yellow and or green in reds or dark pinks to create a blood or flesh-like tone, especially blood, because blood, when it pulls, kind of looks a little bit brown. Now, on my first mix, I got the proportions slightly out, so this ended up looking like mustard. But more Pink Horror put into it didn't bring the colour back to Pink Horror, because I didn't want that, because Pink Horror is quite a ghastly pink. But with the thinner thinning it out, and sort of probably 2/3 of Pink Horror to 1/3 Iriol Yellow, I got this really nice dark sort of, how would I put it? Yeah, not this sort of pink, but a nice darkish pink. In fact, you can probably see it in my little paint tray I had actually. Now it's dried, so it's gone a bit darker, but it was that kind of colour. I don't know why I didn't show you that in the start. Painted up. Aye, painted up in Tim Bath. Let's go, mate. I got to whip this out for a walk in a minute. Painted up all of the sort of PVA cotton wool flesh, let that dry, and then went back over it. Oh no, sorry, before I did that, I thought, how about pus? How about pus? I don't know, again, light and all that, if you can see the pus. Because you're going to make it a little bit more gnarly, you've got to have pus, haven't you? Yeah. And then that was done, that was really simple. Again, it's the technical paints really that make this. Nurgle Rot and a bit of Iriol Yellow just to heighten it, because that's obviously murky kind of algae green, where that just gives it a little bit of brightness and makes it look more pus-like in my opinion. And that was lovely to put on. This is the sort of colour you get out of it. That was lovely. It was really, really, really gnarly to put on. Again, I wish I had a proper camera. Yeah, you can't really see it. Anyway, so that gave it the pus colour. And then more Blood for the Blood God. This is a top layer of blood. Happy with that, I then looked at the rest of the hand and I thought, well, you know, it's still too cheap and nasty, really, isn't it? So I decided, first thing I had to do as well was actually I had to fill in some holes that were just left, little pits and things from the manufacturing process. They were mostly around the fingers. And as anyone who does any modelling knows, especially Warhammer stuff, again, you can't see this now, Citadel, liquid green stuff, great stuff that. I filled in the holes, and I really wasn't going to be careful with this, so I smeared it on with my finger and thumb just to smear it and get it in the holes, and I'd brush off the rest with my finger and thumb just to get all the dry residue off. Made up another mix of the pink, and just sort of dry brushed and sort of washed in different places that colour again, so it had this kind of darkened pinkish look, like it'd been not necessarily in a flame, but it had been in the extreme heat, so the skin had discoloured, but not like that sort of Freddy Krueger look where it's all blistered and everything. But it'd been near heat. Damaged up the fingernails. Just took my modelling tool there and sort of just scratched away at the fingernails, and that was already dented, that was already part of the modelling there. But scratch up the fingernails and that's it. And then finally a wash of Bad Ad Black. And again, that was very indiscriminate, just sort of, you know, all over the place, and then just rubbing it off with my hands. You can use, obviously, kitchen roll, you can get like makeup sponges and dab it all on, but to be honest, I'm not very careful, so it was just like, and get it both sides, and then it just makes it look like dirty and charred and seared, and that's it. That is the beauty. It's done. Definitely want to do another one again in the future, to be honest. I know you can get them on Amazon. I put a link up to what this, or a similar one to this, looked like at the start. But I'm going to wait until Halloween and probably get quite a few bits and pieces. Or unless I can find someone else doing this quicker, because Halloween's a long way off, unfortunately. I prefer it to Christmas myself. Halloween's my Christmas. Anyway, yeah, so I'm really happy with it. It looks sufficiently gnarly. I'm gonna say, if anyone wants me to make them one for Halloween, I mean, I suppose I could do it. I don't imagine there's going to be much demand for stuff like this, but if anyone of my mates maybe want one done for Halloween, or just a nice gory prop, I suppose I could do it for them. It's supposed to be too difficult. I had fun doing this one anyway, so anyway, that's it. Thanks for watching.